Welcome to episode 134 of Nobody Special.
On this episode, we talk about Rooster Teeth in Christian fame.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host and YouTuber of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special, and this is a podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, and politics, and everything in between. I'm sorry, it's been a couple weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks.
I'm losing my touch.
Welcome back, Caleb. And boy, am I tired of saying that sentence.
Me too.
Welcome
I'm tired
back,
of hearing
Caleb. Yeah. So Caleb, just straight out the gate, the vice presidential debate was last night, and I think it would be really cool to maybe talk about it a little bit.
Okay. I haven't watched it, so you're going to have to debrief me.
Well, we had what I'm describing as the person who should be the presidential candidate and the person who will likely become the president if they win. So it was actually a really more important debate than we think it was. So yeah, this was boring. But do you know which candidate won?
No.
Yours. Whoever that may be, depending upon which candidate you're voting for and which news source that you were checking, your candidate won, period.
Yes.
But Danny, don't people maybe have different candidates they were hoping for? Yes. But depending on the news source that you were looking at, your candidate won.
Yes. This is true.
And everything is horrible.
And that's why our candidate is the guy who won.
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker.
Oh. No, it was I watched the whole thing. Man, I will say, based on the previous debate, did you watch the previous debate? I got to talk to Andrew about this. I actually haven't talked to you about it that much. Did you watch the previous debate?
Watched enough of it.
So
let's just put it that way.
3 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
I had my fill.
So the presidential debate, it was so buck wild.
Yes.
That when we got to the vice presidential debate, a couple of things happened. First, I thought, oh my gosh, it's only been a week.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
That's true. Isn't that crazy?
This week has been the longest month of 2020 for me. I don't know about you guys, but this week's been the longest month.
I don't know.
It's gone on
COVID
for a bit.
was pretty...
Yeah. No, this one felt like 3 weeks because of everything that we did. Oh, and our free day, our fun free day, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was helpful. But no, so after that screaming match between the two old men, I forgot what these debates were supposed to be. So this entire debate for the vice presidential debate, I guess they're not debating for vice president. How do I say this? I was clenching the whole time, just like, all right, when's it gonna happen? And it was quippy but calm and boring compared to the previous one. And I was like, all right, not bad, I'll take it.
Yeah. Watchable, one could say.
Yeah, I mean, boring. No.
It's at least more watchable than the other one.
No real surprises came up. Well, the other one was watchable in that you slow down for a car crash and look. Do you know what I mean?
Gosh.
Like, it's watchable.
Rubbernecking?
It's not good, but it's watchable.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's our political update for now. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Go vote for your candidate, whatever. I don't super whatever. It's 2020 this whole year. I think in a few months we get to try it again anyway. All right, that's my plan, by the way. If all of us just agree, January 1st, if all of us go, let's just do it again. Start over. I mean, just like start over.
Redo the year 2020?
Redo it. Call a national, international,
worldwide
redo, and just, we never talk about this year again. All of us just agree it didn't happen. We kind of adjust. make a few adjustments, but just try it again and stop counting. Yeah, right. This is a bad idea. Everybody agrees to just, we don't talk about these 365 days. So we'll call it 2019 part 2, and just not talk about it, and then we'll just try it again. I think that'd be great.
That would be great.
Is this a bad idea?
No.
Roll everything back?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Caleb, what's been going on in your world?
Nothing much. I've been traveling.
Yeah?
For work.
How was traveling?
It was fun.
Okay.
That's about it. It was too long.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But you and I went to Universal.
We did.
And that was fun.
It was. Now, all right. I gotta tell you, it was a little bit kind of surreal, for a bit.
Surreal.
Yeah, a little, because the previous time I was there, first of all, it was a packed crowd. This was pre-COVID. Packed crowd, people all over the place, a whole bunch of stuff just going on, and now everybody is like spaced out, and it just feels weird. It gave off a weird kind of a vibe, a little bit of like, okay, now safely move forward.
Even though there's like still a lot of people,
but
the precautions
not that
are
many. Yeah. Compared to
you should have seen the week.
Right.
The weekend I went before,
Right.
It was like normal Universal.
Okay. Fair
except the lines were 6 feet apart, ish. If people actually
right.
paid attention to that.
Right, which even we didn't fully. I mean, I got up there and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to stop 3 feet back, but I can't go back, and I'm just like,
because then the people behind you like push into.
I'm so sorry. Please just let me. Just don't move. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sick, but not that kind. No, and then the other time I had been there, other than pre-COVID and everything, was just slammed someone else's in my pockets. Just that's because that's how that was. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm so close. My hand's in your pocket. Like, why? I was also counting kids every 3 minutes.
Mr. Youth Pastor.
Yep. And so I haven't actually been able to go to the park and just like chill in the park for like over a decade. I just haven't been because that trip was always the most stressful trip I went on.
And Universal has like this ticket promo where you buy a day. Like,
well, you can't buy those anymore.
Actually, they extended it.
Oh, they did?
To like November 3rd, I think.
Dope. So it didn't work.
Because they know they're making a ton of money off of it.
Right.
But like, and you get to go until however many times you want until December 23rd. So it's a good deal.
Guess we're going December 22nd. Universal, baby.
Yeah. I don't even know what December 22nd is. It's December 23rd, Christmas Eve? No. I'm sorry. All right. It's the 24th. Do I need to like?
Are you good?
Do some Hail Marys or something?
No, you don't have to throw the football that far. Oh, sorry.
Boom.
Got him. No, the 22nd I think is like a Monday or Tuesday or something like that. So, but yeah, good luck me taking that off 2 days before Christmas Eve. I'm church work now, and that's not a holiday for us anymore.
Yeah.
So. No, it was good though. I enjoyed the Harry Potter stuff. I haven't been since they put in all the Harry Potter stuff, and it was a lot of fun actually. The motorbike, Hagrid's motorbike. There's actually a small documentary on YouTube about the complexities of this ride.
Yeah,
and it was really cool to kind of dig into why this is a complicated thing that has a lot of problems in programming, because there are 7 different places that they need to be able to stop the car.
Right,
and that is absolutely fascinating to me. Just amazing.
No spoilers, but
yes,
you should ride this ride.
Absolutely. And it's kind of open air a bit. I mean, they're all open air, but this felt more open than normal. Do you know what I mean?
What does that mean?
Well, on top of the motorbike, it just felt as if I was on top of the motorbike. I mean,
right,
as if I was on a motorcycle. And
so like the design of
the
cart is like a motorcycle with a sidecar. Mm-hmm. And it's like just your waist is strapped in. It's like, compared to the rest where you're like,
right,
over the shoulder,
right,
strapped in. Yeah,
now,
it's definitely fun.
I will say on most roller coasters, every time I'm in them, I am to myself, I'm humming Highway to the Danger Zone. In like Top Gun, the soundtrack.
Highway to the danger zone.
These were no exception. I'm just like, I'm pretending to fly a plane, and I don't know why, but I am. I'm just like, nyom, nyom, nyom. And it was a different
Hulk
ride for me.
Is so fun too.
Really is.
That one is the blast off at the beginning.
It takes out the worst part of the roller coaster. Click, 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 click,
yeah,
click,
okay,
click,
yeah,
click.
that's right.
That's the worst. That's the worst part.
Danny did not go. So I don't even know if a lot of our audience knows a lot about Universal. Probably not. But Universal it's a theme park with roller coasters, and it's themed all sorts of things. But there's one roller coaster called the Riptide Rocket, and it cranks straight up. So like
that's not exaggeration. It cranks straight up, 90 degrees. I want to clarify because I feel like I can gain a lot of sympathy because most people go like the roller coaster cranks straight up. Oh, it just must be steep. No. This would not be considered steep. It would be considered square.
Yeah, yeah. It goes straight up, and then you're like at the top, and then it's the drop. And Danny refused to go on it with me.
Down. And see, it wasn't the down part, even though that angle sucked. And I'm just going to say, that first down angle, that one sucked.
It's
and I
so
want to
much
be clear.
Fun, though.
It wasn't even that. It was that straight up part of just like...
That is the most scary part of the ride.
Right. And like, I know it can't do this, but I saw that and thought, what happens if the brake, because that's not, I slide down into another cart. That's I slide down into the earth.
Well, no.
And crush.
What do you think? You just go like, no, it's a curve up. So you'd go.
I understand that. See, on a physics perspective and engineering, I can explain why roller coasters are safe. I can do that. It's a very easy explanation. Mm-hmm. Also,
isn't it crazy
when I see this going straight upward 90 degrees into the air? And my brain goes, hard pass.
The reason that is the scariest part too is like the chairs are like they're not perfectly straight up either. They're like slanted back a little bit, so you feel like you're like sliding out.
Didn't even know that. Bump that.
Have you ever rode it?
No, I have not.
What? Okay.
Do I strike you as the
you have to come on it at least
who
once.
Rode it? No, I didn't, and I don't want to.
You have to ride it at least once.
I don't give a rip roaring roller coaster.
But what's fun about it is you get to choose a song. So it's not the rock and roller coaster, but you choose music. So it's like customizable music the whole ride.
What options do I have?
You can like anything, like rap, rock and roll, country, all that stuff.
And
it's like the most popular songs from each of them. So like, what did I do? I think I did like Tribe Called Quest one time.
Who?
A Tribe Called Quest. It's like old school rap. What? Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Like a bum 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 bum. It's like that kind of smooth rap back in the day.
I got nothing.
Okay, well,
we're gonna have to Google this at the end of it. But all right, I'm saying now, with everything in me, to the best of my ability, I will go on the Rip Roaring Roller Coaster.
Rip Ride Rocket.
Whatever, that one.
Sweet. Well, I look forward to it. I really do, because I love bringing people who are scared of roller coasters on roller coasters. Because after you do it once, it's so much fun.
No, that is incorrect. I have people have said that for multiple things for me. Incorrect. And every time I've been like, "Oh, that was fun. Do you want to do it again?" No.
What?
No, I'm good. I'm good out here. Here's the deal. I don't like roller coaster. Well, I don't.
You went on the Hulk, and the Hulk
takes out
is
the worst
the
part.
Scariest ride at Universal.
No way. That
for
was
sure.
Not scary at all.
No, it's not scary for someone who likes roller coasters, but it's definitely more intimidating than Rip Ride Rocket.
Well, all right. Here's why I did roller coasters, because I'm not a huge fan of them. They're fun, sure, but I'm not a huge fan. Now, if you ask me to go on that roller coaster. All right, go ahead and ask.
Hey, Danny. How are you doing?
No, just like a.
Do
normal...
you want to go on the Rip Ride Rocket or the Hulk? Which one are we talking about?
The rocket.
Rip Ride Rocket?
Hey, thanks for asking. I'm actually good about that. Absolutely. But go have fun. All right. Now pretend you're a student between the ages of 12 and 17.
Okay.
And now ask me.
Hey, Danny. You want to go on the Rip Ride Rocket?
Sorry, I need that again because I don't know what. I was not ready for that. Ask me one more time.
I tried to go a high pitch, but it didn't work.
Right.
Hey, Danny, you want to go on the Rip Ride Rocket?
I need to call
I don't
your
know
mother.
why I'm
to
just
come
struggling so hard.
What? Just say like, hey, I'm in middle school. Do you want to go on this with me?
Hey, I'm in middle school. I really like soccer
And dabbing.
and dabbing and TikTok. You want to go on the Rip Ride Rocket with me?
Absolutely. I'm not going to chicken out of anything in front of you. And that was my criteria for
Sick.
teens. Hey, teens,
That's all I have to do?
If there are teens who were ever in a youth group that I was in charge of who asked me to go on a roller coaster, hey guys, if you're paying attention now, guess what? I don't like them.
Wow.
At all.
Way to just completely blow out the audio.
Sorry for the ear listeners there. I apologize. But I don't
I'll
like
lower
them.
it in Premiere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
You don't like them at all? Why did you have so much fun on the Hulk then?
No, because I do enjoy them. I've gotten over it a little bit, but like during the time, I really didn't like them. Heights freak me out. Heights absolutely freak me out. So naturally, things I do that I'm scared of, I'll be scared of them, but then I'll get to a point of like, I just have to do it. I do the thing I'm scared of, so I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah.
And that day, I had pushed myself enough. We're good. Danny's good out here.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were pushing yourself. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I'm very proud of you.
I don't enjoy not being in control, specifically of moving vehicles. I don't enjoy heights.
At least you know what you're getting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Right.
you see the track in front of you and you know where you're going.
Right. And
Except for a hag ride.
that was, what was that ride we went on? Not the Hulk. And not the Hagrid thing, but it was a roller coaster.
It was?
What was it?
Oh, the Mummy?
No. No, that
Green
one's
Grot's
awesome.
Spank?
Was it that one?
Was
it
it
went
Harry
really
Potter?
fast. I don't know.
Went really fast.
Yeah, there was one of them. I was just staring at the track. Couldn't tell you what was going on all around it. Couldn't tell you a bit. Just looking at the track. I'm like, I will see this track and know that we are almost done.
Are you talking about Hagrid?
No, it wasn't Hagrid. Hagrid, I was flying the...
Well, that's the only two roller coasters we rode. Was the
I
Hulk,
thought we went on something else.
the Hulk, Hagrid. You could... Well, the Mummy.
Mm-mm.
Was it in the dark?
No, it was outside.
I don't know.
I thought we did something else. Oh,
No.
well, anyway, there was one of them. It might have been the Hulk then that I was just staring at the track in front of me the whole time.
I like how
it
we've
was
been-
the Hulk because we were
Yeah.
on the front on that one. And, oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that
That's
was
the
my
worst.
first time
I
on the
had-
front there.
I had
Yeah.
nothing to adjust to like someone in front of me, and I can stare at that head and be like, "This is my constant.
Yeah.
You are my constant." You know, like I didn't have that. That was the worst.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Should we
we're
stop
gonna go
talking about
again.
roller coasters?
Probably. Speaking
It's
of
like a
roller
20-minute
coasters,
segment.
right? This went
Yeah, literally.
for something. Well, no, there's like 10 minutes of there. Of,
That's true.
Yeah. Speaking of roller coasters, though, the internet has been a roller coaster of news these past couple of days.
Yes.
Segue achieved. Amen. So, all right. We're going to talk about some YouTube channels that I'm going to be very clear on on kind of the start that I do not endorse these YouTube channels as having produced appropriate or God-fearing content.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to be clear about that. There's this company called Rooster Teeth, and they have a few YouTube channels that are under them. There's a Rooster Teeth, Funhouse, Achievement Hunter, Let's Play, all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in college watching these guys. They started off making a kind of a series that they took the Halo game and pretended to make them talk and created cartoon sketches from that. And it got hugely popular, and now it's a multi-million-dollar company that they actually they sold to Warner Media, I think, or something. I don't know. But as far as non-Christian businesses that inspired Gospel Outpost a bit, Rooster Teeth, and specific Achievement Hunter and Funhouse. Those are two that, to be honest, they inspired a good amount of the structure of Gospel Outpost, because I was watching them, kind of studying the way they broke things down because it worked, and I was trying to build something closer to that. I mean, most of their channels tend to be a group of friends that are playing games and just enjoying it together and creating good content, and that was part of the thing I was trying to do, is just get a group of friends to create content together. I'm not there to the extent that I'm wanting to be there, but that's kind of the idea behind that and kind of the structure. And
right.
And also, I mean, I haven't told a ton of people this. Actually, even as I was doing it, didn't tell anybody I had this, but I did for a bit consider being a YouTuber. And yeah, no, right?
That term.
And there is a gaming channel that I actually need to take down that I did try and build just to create a Christian gaming channel. Granted, it failed horribly. Not failed, it just became another thing I had to do, and just it stopped being any kind of fun, and I wasn't making the impact or anything I was trying to do, so I just stopped doing it, and no one noticed, which is totally fine. But they've had some problems in the past couple of days that have actually been a little difficult to hear, to be honest. They had a member of Achievement Hunter and Funhouse actually get caught in kind of a sexual scandal.
Right.
And both of them, I think at this point, they have stepped down. And it's a big deal, and there may be police involved, and it's cases of marital infidelity, cheating, and that kind of thing involving their fans.
Right.
So the two of them may or may not have had an affair with a few of their fans, and that's fairly problematic. So I don't know. This has been. It's been. I'll be honest. This one's been a little hard for me a bit, just because these are people I find entertaining,
right.
Not appropriate, but entertaining, and it's been weird watching this play out a bit.
Right. Yeah.
Because these are companies that I wouldn't have thought they'd do this, especially these two people. But they've had to step down, process the evidence, and kind of the future of one of those channels is even in question if it actually can keep up the distance and keep going, because they've lost over the past few months over 60% of their cast, essentially. And I don't know. I mean, you know these channels. Is this does this catch you off guard at all?
I mean, I think so, for multiple reasons. To me, I mean, I didn't watch these. I don't really watch these on my own, but you watch them a lot. Danny likes to have YouTube constantly playing.
Back.
That makes it sound worse than it is.
A little judgy. Yeah.
No, Danny likes background noise, and so he has these gaming channels on, and Game Grumps, Funhouse, the people we're talking about here.
We're outing all of my sin right now.
And I mean, I watch Game Grumps on my own, but these two I don't really watch on my own. But it catches me off guard because it seems weird to me that like a company that isn't Christian, if that makes sense.
Almost it's not they aren't Christian, it's that they are to an extent pro non-Christian. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Christ is a common joke in the company,
right?
Which is weird because there's a few other people that are express Christians that are doing a great job. I mean, especially the editor of Funhouse, Matt Peak, is a Christian, and to his credit, the guy, I've only heard him swear one time, and on a channel where there's all kinds of swearing. Matt Peak, he does not do that, and has been intentional about the type of things that he's a part of, the type of content that he's a part of, and the type of jokes that he's making. They'll pick on Christianity and all those things, and then Matt Peak is just not in the video anymore. And it's not that he hates them; he's actually doing a fantastic job, I think, of being Christ to a company that is a bit hostile to Christianity.
Yeah. So like to see a company like that, and like them react this way to something like that. And I think that, like, obviously there's more things coming into factor here. Like, underage, you know.
One of them may or may not be underage. There's some credibility issues to that story, but yeah.
Right. And just, but like, as far as like I see, that's kind of a common thing, or not a common thing, but something that wouldn't really be something that a corporate company punishes you for.
Right.
You know, like you don't work at the corporate level of AT&T and cheat on your wife and they let you go. But seeing as these are like public figures, I guess I can see where it comes into play. But it does catch me off guard in that sense, that it's like, it's weird that this is happening to people who aren't Christian and aren't being held by Christian standards. But I don't know. I'm not really familiar as you, but
well, so they've I mean, there's always that kind of statement of don't meet your idols kind of a thing, because it turns out they're just people, and this is the hard part of people, but this is people that get attention. They have a good amount of attention and publicity and this kind of thing, and that's, I don't know, that it does a thing to a person's head, especially in entertainment. Yeah. That there tends to be this kind of puffed up pride that occurs on being able to tell people, I have over 1,000 followers on Instagram, and well, they have more than that. They have like 1.5 million over or something. 1,000 followers. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get. How many do you have? You don't even have.
No, Instagram. I don't have. I just know, like, I have Instagram.
Do you? Oh yeah, you do. I keep forgetting about that.
I don't use it that much.
That's why I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's. There's this pressure there, the more influence a person thinks they have. I mean, the idea of an influencer, which I think is just a garbage title of just, I'm an influencer. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, what is your job? Your job can't be Instagram. And for some people it is, but I don't know. I just don't get it, I guess. But that does a thing to a person to think they care or they have that power over people that they can almost take the thing they want.
Right. Yeah.
And that is, I don't know. I mean, I guess this hit me a bit kind of harder because these are channels I got through college. Well, not Funhouse, but Rooster Teeth and them. I've been watching them for a fair amount of time, just in college and that kind of stuff. Granted, they're not the most appropriate, and I've had to scale back on some of their things because it was affecting my brain and all that. But as a person that did try the YouTube route, and even on this podcast, am trying to understand how to get better at the YouTube game, this kind of scares me, I guess. I can't actually think of a good term for it. I think it scares me a bit. Because it's just thinking like, how did they get to this point?
Right. I mean, I think that you kind of said it, it's this, they're so popular and they do have publicity, like you're saying, that to be honest, like, there is power in that,
right.
And it does get to people's heads. I think that the people who don't let it get to their head are very intentional about the steps they take to do that,
right.
To combat that. And I think that even for YouTube people, although like it's still kind of the laugh of the entertainment world of like, oh, they're not real entertainers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting closer to real entertainment.
Right.
But like,
especially Rooster Teeth. I mean,
they're
they
big.
They crossed over into producing programs on a grander scale in an effort to get them on TV.
Right.
I mean, that was their next step. It was to do that. They've created animes that are on Netflix. Actually, a lot of their stuff is on Netflix, which is really interesting.
Right.
But it's strange to think that these people that do have this power are, as far as people go, they're no different than us.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I'll be honest, is the scary part. Is that they got there, and through the choices they made, they felt this, allegedly, they felt this was the best thing they could do to help themselves. And I know I've talked about this even at the start of this podcast. I said this is the difference between public Christian and professional Christian, is that when we do this, we are now speaking on behalf of God, whether we are doing that or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the scary part of crossing that kind of a boundary into, and I hate to say having fans, because I still don't think we have fans. I have had people say, like, I'm a fan of the show, and I'm like, it's fine. You're all right.
Sure.
That's okay. Good for you.
You're not real.
Yeah, like, you're not real. Get out of here, Dad. No, but I want to never get to that point of going, and I'm sure it's not going to be that, but be at a point of arrogance of going, I have these fans, quote unquote, because of things I did, and I can just take because I've earned this. Because these are guys that are married, they have kids, some of them have kids, and now all of that is just up in the air because of pride.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see the way non-Christians react when stuff like this happens. I know that there's stories of Christians where God has redeemed marriages.
Absolutely.
And that's cool. And I'm not even saying it's not possible for a non-Christian for that to happen. But it is just a different lens,
right,
that they're looking through completely when something like this happens.
Right.
Like, where do they have to go or to run to when they know they've screwed up?
Right.
And can't go back.
Right.
That's kind of what's like super sad about this to me. And even when it happens all the time, and even just normal, like, not with like underage, but like, you hear of affairs happening and marriages separating. But yeah, it's always sad when there's not a lot of hope for them. Jesus can still be their hope.
Absolutely.
It's not saying that's out of the picture,
Absolutely.
but like, it's very interesting to see that. Because they just lost everything, Yeah. They're probably going to lose their wife. If they have kids, it's going to make it weird.
Right.
It just is. If that person is underage, you broke the law. Also, you lost your job where you got all this power from. It's just completely stripped away. So it's sad, and like not just sad for them, but for all the people affected, like their wives, their kids, all that stuff.
Yeah. And so I still get to talk to a few teens every now and then. Gosh, the more I say that, the older I sound. I'm sorry. I just had a brief moment.
Few of them teenagers.
Them teens. I still get to talk to a few, and there's still this idea of wanting to be a YouTuber as a profession because they're able to go to these polished channels that have been doing it for over a decade, or they've been able to amass 3, 4, 5 million people who are subscribed to them and all that. They've been able to play the game, be entertaining, edit, all that, and they watch that. But the thing they don't get to watch are the thousands and thousands of failed channels of just people that thought they could do it and can't, because it's a grind. I mean, even this podcast comes out one time a week, and it's a lot of work. And I'm glad to put it in. I'm proud to put it in. Caleb and I are both, honored to be able to put in this time in order to produce this thing.
Right.
But it's a lot of work, and to be honest, we don't always want to do it. And sometimes we just record a 30-minute episode and go get ice cream.
Yeah.
Which is, sorry, we phoned that one in. No, we're not sorry. No. It was a good week. Anyway, But then they don't get to see the pressure that comes on from putting everything out there, being public on the internet, to not care or to not keep that place of, this is private, because if a person has fame, everything is just out there, and kids crave this. And I gotta be honest, I'm not even positive that the Christian is built for fame. And I know it's a crazy kind of a sentence, but I'm not quite sure the Christian is built to endure the kind of emotional stress that it brings, because it puts the attention on us. I mean, there's that passage in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 9 through 12, if you care to read that for us.
For sure. Now concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love one another, for that indeed is what you are doing to all the brothers throughout Macedonia. But we urge you, brothers, to do this more and more, and to aspire to live quietly, and to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands, as we instructed you, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one.
All right, so Caleb, what stands out in that paragraph, I guess?
I mean, I think that aspiring to live quietly, mind your own affairs, work with your hands. I mean, I think the main one is live quietly. And I think that that's a hard thing to grasp. I mean, it's what does it mean? First of all, what is the context of what he's saying this in? Who wrote Thessalonians?
Oh, gosh. I want to say Pauline. I'm pretty sure it's Pauline epistle.
Pauline.
Sorry. I'm pretty sure Paul wrote it.
Wow, you brought out some fancy seminary.
I've been in meetings today.
It's like Pauline.
Yes, it's Pauline. That's a word.
Isn't there a cooking show? Who? What is it? Pauline?
You think of Paula Deen.
Paula Deen. Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. I was like, Paula Deen.
See? I can go here, and I can also slum down here. I'm still good. Still got it.
Yeah, I mean...
Next time someone says Pauline epistle, I am going to just go...
Yeah.
Paula Deen. Put some butter on that epistle. Sorry. Because she puts butter in all of her things. It's a Paula Deen joke. Yeah. Anyway, where are we?
I don't know.
Certainly not living quietly.
Yeah. So living quietly. Yeah, I think... To me, I feel like that kind of means to live quietly and I'm not even sure if this is what Paul is talking about, but
Mm-hmm.
like to not be some. I mean, I think of like politically, the way you treat others,
Mm-hmm.
just the way you carry yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that there's a way to do it quietly, in the sense that it's not aggressive,
Right.
and loud.
Right. Well,
But do you know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
I feel like I'm not
The-
articulating
the-
it well, but
The clause at the end, though, that's the part that see this entire passage. I'll be honest. 1 Thessalonians 4:9 through 12 to me is really challenging because I have to question a lot of assumptions I hold on what I'm doing, what my calling is, and if this is even a good idea.
right.
Because it's to do those things in order that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one.
Yeah.
So these things are to live quiet, mind your own affairs, and work with hands, in order to first maintain Christian composure.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I mean, it's kind of the same thing of debt. If I'm in debt to this person, then I owe that person either blood or money, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pay one of them. So I have to do things based on a debt I shouldn't even be keeping, because that person then is a king over me. And that is the weird Christian perspective on debt that most Christians just go, nah, it doesn't apply to like houses though. And I say this to someone who makes mortgage payments now. And I have to think, like, did I behave biblically in this manner because now I have a debt to a person other than Christ?
I mean, to be fair,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way to live debt-free in America. I mean, whether you rent, you still owe a debt. Whether you
Not really.
build your own house, you still gotta pay the government something. You know, I guess that's.
But that's not debt. Taxes and debt are handled a
Yeah.
little differently. But it's that type of thing, though. If I'm just minding my business and being quiet, then I'm not stirring up the trouble that comes with needing to have the connections and needing to wheel and deal and kind of do all these things together and kind of the same thing on fame.
Yep.
If it becomes about the fame, then all that's doing is drawing attention to me instead of drawing attention to Christ.
Right.
I think someone's gonna bust me on this if I misquote it. I think it was Spurgeon that told pastors, preach the gospel and be forgotten. That the goal isn't to call attention to us; it's actually to call attention to God. And if our name doesn't get put down in a history book, then that's fine, and be okay in the impact that's been made to the kingdom of God, even if it's quote unquote small. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that we may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one. And the problem of fame is that it is a massive dependency.
Yeah.
If I'm famous and popular, then I have to maintain that in order to maintain this identity I've built. And the encouragement there is just like, I don't know, stay home and make chairs and make really good chairs and sell them for the Lord. I mean, it's like, I don't know, that's I struggle through this one because I have to question, it's like, okay, am I doing this wrong? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That cause there is that part of me that did try and be a YouTuber, and it just didn't. I thought about the things I'd have to give up in order to do that. And especially Gospel Outpost, there were about 5 or 6 ideas that got scrubbed because they essentially would have broken this policy here. Not policy. This scripture here, it's more than policy. I don't know. Does that make sense at all, or like?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for sure it's challenging. I mean, even with this podcast, we try as much as possible, just like what you just quoted. I mean, we want this to be something that you are encouraged by.
Right.
That's not about us. That
Right.
hopefully that you get something from us too, joking around.
Right.
That our goal is that, starting this, that, you would have something that is a positive effect in your faith, that is also, more relaxed when it comes to the rest of the podcasts out there on Christianity. And I think that we always pray before every podcast that the Holy Spirit would be the one talking to us.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of what this is talking about as well. That you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one.
Right.
In the sense that, like, God will speak through you. You don't need flashy actions. You don't need all these. I think there's another verse where Paul is talking about the lofty preaching. Like, just because you speak fancy and you're able to persuade someone with your words, that's kind of dishonoring to God, in a sense that, like, he will move through you if he wants to, and he doesn't need your help. He really doesn't. I could say,
I didn't mean to say Pauline, but go ahead.
Like, he could talk through you and you say, like, the dumbest sentence ever. I mean, it's just true.
Frequently, we have 133 episodes of that.
And I think that's kind of, I don't know if that's directly what this verse taught. It is a confusing verse to me, to be honest with you. Like, I would like to dive into this more. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's partially what it's talking about, is the lofty speech or action.
Yeah, I do think that is part of it. Maybe not part of this particular passage, but a part of all of Scripture. Absolutely, that's the full counsel of Scripture, and I'm all about it. That's pride is a real painful kind of a sin to work through, and to be honest, I kind of think pride is the foundation of sin. That the first kind of the sin, it isn't that they ate from tree, it was that they thought they could do better than God. I mean, that was the first kind of the sin, and it doesn't talk about kind of the sin of Eve. It talks about the sin of Adam, of going, well, I should have said something and I didn't because I think I might actually be able to do this better. It's trusting in us, in our ability, in our wants and desires more than wanting the thing that God tells us to. It's that God's ways are better than our own. It's that God's thoughts are not our thoughts. God's ways are not our ways, and they are better. And I think if all of us are to feed into our own pride, gets to a place of wanting things we know are bad, but I want them, and I've created that as the end-all be-all of who I am, and my internet persona, and all these things are built off of, I've earned this because I've amassed this massive kind of following. And in actuality, the Scripture's telling us, to not pursue that kind of fame, to not do that kind of thing. It's actually saying, hey, small dude on a farm who praises God and cares about his neighbors will probably have a bigger impact in the kingdom of God than he thinks that he will. And even in preachers, I mean, I try not to dunk too hard on preachers, because I have an empathy towards the spiritual battle going on there, but there is this competitive nature to preachers who want to be the best, the biggest, the best, all these things that I've grown to appreciate the smaller church pastor that's been doing that for years at a time and is faithful to his congregation, because we don't know the impact that that'll have.
Yeah. I think that's good. And I think that God, like, the way I've always viewed it is God chooses those people who know, like, who will become bigger or not,
right.
And I don't think that there's something inherently wrong
no
with being big, and I don't think that's what either of us
Yeah.
are saying. I think it's to be faithful to what God has called you to, and if God draws an audience to what he's saying through you, then so be it. And if it's a smaller audience, so be it. I think the point is, no matter what, this verse is saying to love one another, to do what God has called you to do, and not focus on the amount of people listening,
Right.
And I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
So it's kind of an integrity issue, is do the thing even if nobody's watching.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that like you saying that kind of made sense for me in the sense of that,
right.
The small pastor is no better and no worse than the big pastor with 10,000 congregants. It's the same amount of power,
right,
being spoken through them.
And I mean, I'll be honest. I know 10,000 churches of 10,000 people that the pastor is a phenomenal pastor. And also I can think of churches that have 10,000 that there is a clear issue of trying to make the pastor's name known above the name of God. And,
right.
And so I don't even think that a 10,000 person church is an indication that a pastor's doing good or bad, because on the same token, I know pastors that are of 200 people church that are doing it to glorify God and make his name known. Yeah. And I know pastors of 200 congregation churches that are trying to build their own name and are also bad at it.
Right.
And in this kind of congregational measuring, I guess, isn't even a good criteria of church.
Right.
That, I mean, a few people view that as, well, no, they're too big or they're too small. And I'm like, that's not the criteria that needs to be used. Is the pastor trying to make the name of God known? Are they proclaiming scripture, or are they trying to build an empire of their own? Are they trying to make their name known? Do they have a merch that has their face on it? I'm not thinking of a specific church there. So if your church is doing it and you have a face of your pastor on a shirt and it's not ironic, probably need to go.
I mean, and I think not even like just a pastor, but the congregation, the staff, like the church, that church as a whole. I think that serving in the church is important, and you are a part of a church when you have a home church.
Right.
And I think this also applies to you, the church goer.
Right. Right.
And because you're just as important to the church as a lead pastor.
Absolutely. More.
So,
let's be clear.
Yeah.
Because you can always hire a new lead pastor.
and I think that's, once again, what this is saying is it doesn't matter, the flashiness. And that's kind of what I was bringing up before with that other verse, is like, it doesn't matter how good you can preach or how well you can talk or how well you can present the gospel to your coworker. It is God who moves.
Right.
And we just need to be faithful.
Right.
That he will move. And I think that's the point here.
Right. there were as far as my personal preaching history goes, there were of all the sermons I've given, I think I still have most of them. I've intentionally kept them just to be able to. Now, granted, some of them will never be preached again, and I open them up to think, wow, finally you know a little bit more what you're doing.
Yeah.
But there have been 2 times that a sermon was so bad that I intentionally went to the sound booth, got the copy, and ripped it up and tore it up. Got my copy, ripped it up, tore it up, deleted the PowerPoint, cleared the recycling bin, went to the computer I typed it on, it deleted it, and cleared the cache just to be sure, because it was that bad. And,
Jeez.
and there were 2 of those. Now, granted, though, the point of the story, there were almost 3, and the third one, I can't even tell you the thing it was on. It was so bad.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm giving it was just like none of this is connecting, none of this is working. I'm bored and I'm giving it, and at the end of it, I was about to start thinking. Well, because it was during the youth pastor days, I was about to start thinking through. Okay. Where are all the copies and how do I need to get rid of them? And this girl comes up and says, "Hey, Danny, thanks so much. That a message really spoke to me." And it was just like spiritual turning point for them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it took everything in me to not say, I thought it sucked, like because you can't do that as a pastor, especially if they're like, thank you, I had this spiritual encounter that I came to know God more. Well, I thought it sucked, that's not the time to do that. And that was a humbling kind of a moment of going, this is so clearly not my ability, because if I had given that in like preaching class, I would have failed the class. Mm-hmm. And still God moves through this.
Yeah.
And if the focus is on, I'm trying to be the best preacher in order that people know Danny Burton, then I do think I'm going to fail every time.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that charisma that people like. But if the goal is to make God known, then even if one person hears this and says, I've had an encounter with God, then kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah. I mean, and even if we don't hear about it,
Yeah.
like, that's another thing is like, I can count many times where I've heard something that might not have been very, like a good sermon, or even someone just talking about a subject in the Bible or anything. Mm-hmm. But I walked away thinking about it, and even that small thing,
right?
Me just kind of thinking through my week and like,
right,
wow, that really kind of makes sense now, or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, just small little steps can happen through the smallest interactions.
Right.
And I think that's all the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And that's what's so cool, is that like, no matter what, it's going to have an effect on someone.
And I think that's part of this encouragement Paul's giving us in Thessalonians, that the Spirit going to do the thing the Spirit going to do, period, the end.
Yeah.
So do your best to not stir up trouble or be dependent on people.
Yeah.
Because our dependency is on Christ and Christ alone. And in Christ, we have no need. So in those small moments, because I think people underestimate the small moments, preferring to have these grand, massive times, I think we're cutting the small moments short.
Right.
And these small moments have the greatest impact. I mean, I know me personally, and sorry, this is a lot of me processing information, and I apologize. It also applies to you. Figure it out, I guess. The some of the more impactful conversations I've had, the other person doesn't even really know they happened. It was just like, oh, I thought we were just talking. I'm like, yeah, but you got in my soul then and spoke a truth I needed to hear that so clear came from God. and you don't even know it happened.
Right.
And I think that's the goal for us as Christians, and not to chase fame, but to pursue God. And if we stumble into fame in the process, to go, well, I don't know, God.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Most of the big name pastors that I adore tended to all kind of start off and say is like, I thought this was going to be a small church of like 300 people. I still don't fully know what I'm doing, and I'm not sure why I'm here.
Right.
Even Chandler, I think, and he's a pastoral hero of mine. If you're listening, Chandler, can I come say hi? He's not listening. He's super not. He's actually taking his multi-campus church and sending the campuses out. He's
my mom actually goes to one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Citizens Church, shout out.
And they're joking about being the fastest shrinking church in America.
Yeah,
because they're
that's funny.
I mean, there are pastors trying to get on the top 100. He's trying to get off the top 100. He's like, I don't want to be here. There's plenty of qualified teachers in the area, so train them up, send them out, and man, let's go.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that they're
awesome.
finding is it's having a greater impact when it doesn't all come down to Matt, because they can mobilize more people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. This is it's been an interesting.
This is an interesting verse that I've never really thought about, to be honest. Like
I struggle through it. Like, honestly,
kind of smacked me across the face.
I do struggle through this a bit, because I stop and think, am I called to just go make cabinets? I mean, like, I say this as a person who is watching tutorials on YouTube and Instagram algorithms in order to have a broader reach an audience to promote Gospel Outpost. And granted, I still think the heart I have behind Gospel Outpost is to glorify God in this, but
right,
what am I doing? Like, do I just need to make cabinets?
Yeah.
I will straight up go make cabinets if
and
I
I
have
think
to.
it's hard nowadays, and I think it's always been like this throughout history,
Mm-hmm.
but like, we as people care a lot about what other people think.
Right.
And I think that's this is the mindset that we need to have.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general. And I think, once again, that's what he's saying here, is like, we need to focus on God and love one another.
Right.
That it's not about what other people think.
Right.
When you focus on your relationship with God first, like, I think we have all been there, where it's like, it's just great. Like, life is great, even if you had the crappiest day ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because when your focus is on Him,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to grow more. And I think that's when people,
Right.
like you're saying, when people stumble into fame and all these
Right.
different things, they're not focusing on that anymore.
Right.
And that's why I feel like God is able to use them a lot more than some other people, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That seems kind of weird.
Yeah. Well,
who knows?
if Christ is everything, if I'm bowing to Christ as King over all things,
Mm-hmm.
then depending on other things is counter to that claim.
Right.
And I think that's also the big point of this, is that if Christ is everything, if the only thing I need is Christ, then if I'm dependent on another thing, it's me telling that thing, I know all I need is Christ, but I'm still going to need this,
Yep.
and choose to bow to this thing that cannot maintain in the same kind of a manner that Christ does. And that's a caution to the Christian to actually go through and think, like, all right, I know all of us go, yeah, Christ is king over all right, but to ask the honest question of, where is he not?
Right.
And ask, where are you dependent on another person or
Right.
another organization or a concept or anything? I mean, it's essentially to say, if Christ is the only thing I need, then idols must be smashed, period.
Yeah.
Idols are made to be smashed.
And I think, I mean, that's something. I mean, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
This is something I, to be honest, like really need to hear a lot. That's probably the number one thing I feel like I struggle with is what other people think, and like not even in a broad sense, like on this podcast, like we've had so many mean comments and stuff like I
we've gotten off easy.
We love you guys, but I don't care what you think about us. I should say
deeply.
But like when it comes to personal interactions and specific people that are in my life, I really care about what they think. And to be honest, it rules my life and the way I act outwardly a lot.
Right.
So, I mean, like, this is something that is huge for me. And I feel like it is for a lot of people. So, yeah, I mean, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This kind of wrecked me a little bit.
Yeah, this is really challenging. I mean, like, everyone talks about, I have my favorite kind of Bible verse. It says, Jesus stirs our hearts, and it's all about that. But, like, no one goes to this one, says, my favorite Bible verse, 1 Thessalonians 4, 9 through 12. Do your best to live quietly and work
Shouldn't
with your
those
hands.
be our favorite Bible verses? The ones that, like, constantly bring up conviction inside of you?
I was gonna put imprecatory kind of psalms on a coffee cup. Sorry, imprecatory psalms are the I'm going to destroy my enemies and make them a footstool. You know, like that. Those kind of things, or the weeping and gnashing of teeth ones. No one puts those on a coffee cup, and I'm honestly thinking about making a kind of a line of these coffee cups for like things that shouldn't be on a coffee cup.
Yeah, I like that.
So I don't know, maybe that'll be in the merch store, which might go directly against everything we just talked about right here. So well, to everybody out there that's still on this podcast through our fun ramblings of 1 Thessalonians,
yes,
we want to hear from you. Is this a challenging passage, or is this a thing that you're nailing? Are there idols that are taking our dependency? This is our question of the week, which we may do if I remember to do it next week. I'm probably not, but we're going to work on it. Do you have idols, and are those idols in the process of being smashed?
Right.
Are there things that all of us are dependent on, or chasing after fame and other people? Or is there a dependency on Christ who will never give us up? I can't believe that's where my head went. Never going to give us up. Never going to let us down or turn around and hurt us.
That's pretty funny. I
don't like myself right now. Caleb, if they want to answer that question, where can they go while I cry here in my hands?
You can go to thegospel.com/nobodyspecial, and you can ask us questions there. And you can say hi if you want to interact with us. Danny. It's a hard life sometimes, you know?
Hey, what's
Speaking
up,
of not caring what people think. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Nobody Special Podcast. And you can comment there, ask us questions if you want to hear us ramble like we just did. And maybe come to a conclusion. Who knows? And yeah.
Also, our website. Did you tell them the website?
Yeah,
I was crying.
I did.
I'm sorry. I was crying through it. I don't really remember.
I did.
So, well, we appreciate everyone who tunes into the show week after week and gives us feedback on it. It's really nice feedback, and all of us appreciate it. So,
yes.
Well, Caleb, I think that's going to do it for us today. I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are
Nobody Special.